to me, I think that scaling the sales is kind of like a map, and most people don't have a map, let alone directions. And so we say that there are 6 key milestones on the treasure map to scaling your sales, and it involves different stages of the sales cycle. And so, there's your attraction piece, and what are you doing to make sure that you've got the right messaging and that you're attracting the kind of clients that you really want to work with. And then there's the process of actually converting them. Like, how do we qualify our leads? How do we make sure that they are the kind of A and B type clients that we really want to be working with? And often there's a disconnect, and this is very, very common in a service-based business where we're delivering services as well as products, where the transfer from the sales team to the delivery team can sometimes be clunky. And so what our presence online was, what our sales process was, now doesn't match the offering or the promise of our delivery. And so we must consider the way that handover takes place, because that's also a sale. How do we collect funds? Some people are great at delivering awesome projects or awesome services, and then they don't get paid for months and years, so how do we...
They never send the invoice or forget to send the invoice.
Some of them don't. Yes, that's right.
Or don't chase up the invoice.
Exactly. It's like the old sales thing. If you don't ask the question, then the answer is always no. And if you don't send your invoice, then you're never going to get paid, right? So, and then of course it's, how do we resource the team in terms of the touch points beyond the sale? What is our method for collecting referrals or getting 5-star reviews or whatever that might be? And then how do we lead that team of sales professionals? How do we lead our audience and our raving fans? And so if you don't have the map and you don't have the directions, then the whole scaling of the sales system becomes very, very challenging, much like the tongue-tied approach. And so we mentioned the 6 milestones of the treasure map of scaling your sales. And this is just a little snapshot that I wanted to share with everybody. This is by no means, the entire system, but I wanted to give people a couple of examples around what we need to tighten up in each of those milestones in order to really affect that funnel and to give you guys some ideas. And so, for example, in the attraction column, things like your messaging, your niche, your avatar, your offers, your call to action, those things are things that you can tweak and turn in order to make sure that you're getting better metrics and better measurement. When we're converting, if you've got sales team, what are their KPIs and their targets? What are they measured against? What are the sales steps? Are they mapping against the customer journey? Is it consistent with what we're putting out there online? In the delivery process, how do we make sure that journey experience actually transfers? Results and referrals, how do we surprise and delight? How are we measuring outcomes? What are our terms on collecting cash? Are we looking at repeat business models or recurring profit models? How do we hand over? How do we do communication? And also, how do our promos tie into pricing and what's the messaging behind that? Resourcing team, how do we profile the right team that fits in with our culture, our values? How do we hire people, train them to create replicable results? And this one is particularly a column for those of you that might be founders or business owners where you're doing the lion's share of the sales. Maybe you've tried your hand at hiring a salesperson before and they just haven't produced the results like you. And so you've shied away from the idea that, oh no, it's me, I have to do it. No one else can do it as good as me. And this is a really important piece. And then of course, there's the leading part in terms of once we have that team on board, how do we continuously improve the team? How do we reinvent the sales process if the market shifts? How do we keep them learning and scale those teams to expand? And, that there's a lot of stuff in there around accountability and growth and making that happen. So like I said, this is not the full list, but I wanted everybody on the call to be able to have a bit of a context around what do we mean by the 6 milestones and how do they then fit into the funnel?